Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mindset Impromptu chat. This is Mindset After Hours, where we chat with the Nocturnal Frequency Crew about all manner of anything else, anything you want to discuss. Let's introduce the rest of the gang here. Let's shoot over and say hello to, of course, Mr. Steve Janier. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Gareth. How are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
We just got off a great show, a great Nocturnal Frequency show, and it was so good we did not want to stop. Hence, here we are. Here we are once again, ready to go. And of course, the giggling you hear in the background is the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Justin Villarreal. How you doing, Justin?
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
All lit up.
He's all lit up, yo.
Yeah, we on fire. We got balls and everything.
Balls and everything, yo. We're on fire. Yeah. Steve's pixelating a little bit, just a little bit. He's getting a little
pretty
pixelating.
weird.
He's got the predator. He's got the predator suit on there or something.
The predator ghosting going on.
Yeah, I got a little bit of pixelation myself.
Yeah, no pixelation. The Mad Doctor's game. Very good. So what are we going to talk about, guys? We just came off Nocturnal Frequency where we were talking about ghost equipment and the legitimacy of ghost equipment, whether or not it's all BS, all good, or maybe somewhere in the middle. I would say somewhere in the middle, really. You know.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? Let's maybe continue the conversation from there.
Yeah, I'd say in the middle.
Okay.
Depending on what you want to pick on, though. I mean, what kind of equipment you want to talk about?
Well, there's a particular. I know you guys are not the biggest fans of Mr. Zach Bagans and his Ghost Adventures team, but he uses a device, which is I don't even know what it's called, but it's like an iPad that puts forward like a projection of dots, and on the iPad, you can see when entities come in. I don't know what that's called, but I'm particularly impressed by that. Have you seen that, Steve? Do you know what that is?
Yeah. Actually, that was a device that was I don't want to say created, but was brought forward to the paranormal investigative sort of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
By Patrick Burns and Shannon Sylvia.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're pixelating really bad, by the way. It's like you're pixelating really bad.
I know, that's weird. Like my camera looks fine, but
yeah, I see Steve fine in one, and then when it's the transfer over, it seems to be pixelated.
It's really bad.
Weird. Really, like that's.
I don't know what the hell's going on.
I feel like doing some Michael Jackson. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, he's all jacked up over there. Look at that. He's glitching in the Matrix.
Yeah, glitching in the Matrix.
Yeah, it's all messed up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
glitch in the Matrix.
You were saying, Steve, about the iPad thing. It's like you're the predator. You got the predator thing going on there.
It's a secret.
I don't know what it is. It's very weird.
I don't know. Could it be? No, my camera seems fine.
No, I think it's the transfer to the program.
I don't know.
I think it's the program.
Maybe can you hang up and call back in?
I will.
All right, let's try that.
Okay.
Am I still glitching out, or is
no? You're looking good, Justin.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
I think that's a lot better than before.
You're looking. Why is Steve calling me? I thought he was going to call into the chat. He's calling into the wrong. There you go, Steve. It's working now. Hello, Steve.
Hey.
Hang on. There you go. It's working now. Now we just need to re-add Justin because you called me. You didn't call into the chat. You know what I mean?
I was just going to the Skype music, you know.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can't see you.
Can you see me?
I can't see you.
Hang on. Yeah, because you called in directly to you called me. You didn't call back into the chat. So let me add Justin. See if I can add him to this chat. Maybe that'll work. There he is. Okay, I think he's calling in. This is lots of fun, and all being broadcast live. It's fucking great, dude.
Are we working? Are we working?
Where are you? Where are you, Justin? There he is.
All right, back again. There
He's
we go.
back. He's back. All right, let me.
Oh, that's better. Oh, that's way better, Steve.
That's much better. Let me figure this out. There he is. Okay. All right.
Double Justin.
There you go. Now we're good to go.
Yeah.
Now Steve is all clear. Justin's clear.
Yeah.
Everything's looking good. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Everything's looking good. And we got. What is that?
It's online somewhere. I don't know where.
So people know that reference.
Dr. Peter Venkman. Yeah.
Yes.
And we got Mark 1 in the chat room, and he says hi. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Hi.
Mark, how are you?
Hi, Mark. Yeah, so we got one viewer. Things are looking up. But anyway, back.
It's Sunday night. Come on.
It's Sunday night.
Everyone's
I know.
asleep.
Everyone's either asleep or at church.
They're just about to get out.
Just about to get up. So that device, the thing that they use in Ghost Adventures, it's I think it's wonderfully impressive from the outside looking in, watching them play with that thing on the show. It looks fucking great. So tell me about that, Steve. You're aware of the people who made that thing?
No.
Okay, all right. So let's move on.
I'm not. Really, I'm not.
You're
not with that device.
But you know what it is, right? Or you're familiar with it, or aware of it at least. Do you think there's some legitimacy to that, or it's all nonsense?
It's Ghost Adventure. Sorry.
Of course.
Let him finish his bagel there. Eat your bagel.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's Ghost Adventures. So basically, it's like anything. Somebody devises a device that they claim can be used with paranormal investigations.
Mm-hmm.
Can you use it on your show, please? They use it, and all of a sudden things go nuts. And that's generally the rule of thumb with a lot of the devices that have come out of the paranormal. I mean, the paranormal POC, M-Pods. Justin, I know that there's a whole bunch that the Ghost Boss, Frank's Box, however you want to call it.
Well,
there's so many devices.
Yeah.
Well, what makes that like more appealing, especially with I'm totally aware. I've even been on investigations and have used it myself with the LED light that spreads out, that scatters out the.
That's
the
the one.
dots.
That's the one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, and you get the stick figures, the stick figures that appear. Yeah.
And I've never experienced anything to that, but the appeal of it, and mostly at least in what you're seeing on TV, is that of course the lights are off, so you see this shiny, cool, light. The way I could see it applied, it makes sense, because if there is something in the room and it's empty and you have this going around and you see one of the lights kind of flicker,
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's bouncing off something, so it's pretty valid in that sense. But when it comes to the entertainment part, I could see that easily, fake just to get it, just to get the views and whatnot. But
see,
everything, it's pretty valid.
Dude, I don't think they're faking it, man. I don't think they're faking it with that dot light thing. I think it's legit. I mean, look. Hey, I'm not on the inside. I could be completely wrong. Maybe it's all bullshit. But the vibe I get is that it's not. They're not faking it. It's legit. They're getting whatever they're getting.
We're talking about on a TV show, right?
We are. Yes. Yeah, we are.
It's guaranteed. It's faked.
Not.
Come on, it's a TV show. It's entertainment.
I hear what you're saying, Steve. I really do, and yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but there's certain instances where it's not faked, and there's certain instances where it is. You know,
based on how many hours of using that tool.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm guessing
3-4 hours, maybe. I don't know. I have a hard time believing a lot of stuff that they show on TV programs. I really do.
You mean like the news and stuff like that?
But I look at shows as entertainment. And primarily, their objective isn't to show you or teach you how to use certain tools or how to decipher perhaps evidence, if you will. And I find this just another part of that sort of arsenal, if you will.
It's just to entertain, right?
Yeah.
But let me throw this at you. Like sport is entertainment. But
wrestling.
But do you think when a team wins, do they really win, or is it fixed?
That all depends on what sport.
Well, I don't know. Anything. Name a sport.
It's like watching wrestling.
Well, maybe not wrestling, but but like, all right, football or baseball or basketball, right? It's entertainment. That's all it is. And you know, when you break it down, all it is entertainment. It's fun.
Sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. But people still win and lose, right? Or is it all fake?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to believe it's real, but again, the possibility of things being rigged it's evident.
Right.
It's happened in the past.
Right, but the analogy I'm trying to make here is like with the ghost shows, right? Yeah, absolutely, it's just entertainment. But
those shows are just like,
but is it all?
Are just like watching wrestling when you were a kid.
Yeah, I guess.
I get what Steve's saying. I think there's still.
But you can watch the WWE, or you can watch like college wrestling, right? It's both are wrestling. One is complete made up nonsense, and the other one is legit.
Yeah, well, Owen Hart
one
still
has
died.
Hulk Hogan, and the other one doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But Owen Hart still died. You know, he still fell from a cage and died.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That does happen. But
it does happen. Yeah.
But I think there is. I mean, I have friends in the industry. Well, Steve's been in the industry. You know.
But I mean, does it take a ghost hunter to die on a show to make people realize?
Oh, of course. But yeah, we're dealing with using equipment and trying to validate it as evidence. But yeah, I mean, I get it. A friend of mine who was on. Of course, I don't need to name my friend, but he was on the show Ghost Hunters. He was one of the producers and worked behind the scenes on a few other things. And he says ever since he's done that, he doesn't believe any TV show ever. He doesn't. And I asked him to come on, and he's like, I can't. I gotta wait.
You gotta make a living. That guy's got to keep a fucking roof over his head. Right.
But yeah, this is a close friend of mine. I went to high school with, and we grew up in the same town. So I mean, I'll take his word. But I do feel that there is a possibility that there are some things that do happen at shows, because there are some things that happen to us, and
I would agree.
And that's why I would give the application of these lights, some credence to that, and that's why we, as us who present, the information as we do, should apply that. And that's what I try to do when I see this stuff on, like the flashlight thing. You remember that?
Wait. Whoa. Did you just say flashlight?
Flashlight, yes. You remember using a flashlight? I got mine on sale.
Whoa,
from Joey Diaz.
Hey.
Joey Diaz.
Check it out.
But Well, yeah, there's a flashlight technique, and they literally loosen the battery up and place it down, so it's easier. And I've used that, and it's easy. It's so easy for vibration to trigger that. So that alone, I could tell using it on TV is very low possibility that something's going to happen. But it's still out there, and we need to test it. So it is open to use, open for us to further. As peer review would it be? That's what we're supposed to be doing. And we don't necessarily see that. We just see most of the community just take it as this is what works, But I do feel there is room for this, just like I explained, even going to conferences when I used to speak. I may be invited to the conferences to speak, but when my group goes, when we go, we're going there. It's the whole experiment. It's we're there because it's just part of the greater experiment of what the paranormal experience is. So when we're there, we're not just setting up, we're not selling anything, we're really just presenting ourselves and our theories, but we're also interviewing everyone that's there. We're taking notes, mental notes in our head of who we're talking to and what they're, and saying that lady thinks, I remember this lady coming up to us. I forget what table she did. I think she talked to angels or something, but she was naming that we had different spirits. And one of my guys, he's interesting. She said he looked like a goblin. That's his spirit is a goblin. And I was like, I think she was just doing it as face value, because I'm not saying he's the greatest looking guy, but I was like, that's kind of interesting. But these people exist out there, and that's further part of the belief and what we're doing, and that's how we got to further do it than just stop at what it is. Excuse me. Of whatever the entertainment is or whatever showing on TV. So, there is room to take these tools, just like that bear we were talking about earlier. I wouldn't spend that much money. If anything, I think what people should be doing is build it. I'm looking at building my own EFF reader soon. My tri-field reader instead of buying it. Because it's just whatever.
Let me ask you this, Justin, because a lot of these shows.
And I'll rattle off if you don't.
And I agree with you guys, right? It's all just entertainment. And most of it is nonsense and make believe, but it's fun to watch. And there are some shows that I don't like, and they just seem silly to me. And there are other shows that I really enjoy, and like Ghost Adventures. I don't care whether Ghost Adventures is real or not. I really don't.
Of course, yeah.
Whether or not what they present is 100% legit or made up nonsense. At this point, I legitimately do not care. I just enjoy watching it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But when you come to something like Hellier, which was enormously popular, right?
And it's growing. It's growing.
Incredibly well put together, right? The production value on that show is phenomenal.
Yes.
It looks beautiful. Now, is everything they show on that show, is it real? I have no idea. It might be it might be a little bit real, it might be completely real, or it might be total bullshit. I have no clue. But the production values are so high, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And it's grounded. It's enormously entertaining.
Yes.
Right? So
it's also grounded a little bit. A little bit grounded in reality.
What do you mean by grounded? Tell me about that.
Well, I know the guys personally. I know them personally. I kind of grew up with them in a way, being involved with this and seeing them kind of turn into what they are now. But their beginnings, their origins was kind of more of a skeptical take, and it's kind of grown into this. And the way they present the information, they don't tell you what's going on. I think there's a few things you take liberties to that if you watch the show, you'll kind of see. But for the most part, they're kind of going grassroots and taking emails and interviews and all. It's not just we're going to a haunted place and sitting there and filming it. They're actually doing they're actually being investigators in a sense. Yeah. And so the aspect of the show that some people kind of got turned off to, which I liked, but there's more to talk about, is nothing happens, and that's exactly what portrays.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
that's because you have a full episode where they're investigating and researching, and there's no phenomena at all.
Nothing.
So
not at all.
Steve, are you familiar with? You must be familiar with Hellier. You've watched it, right?
Greg Newark.
Yeah.
Does anybody know where Greg came from?
I know. Of course, I know where all of them come from.
Where does Greg come from, Justin?
You mean his birthplace?
No. Do you remember what he was famous for before this?
It was a TV show. I mean, him and Dana,
No.
they were
No,
doing
no.
TV shows.
No. It wasn't a TV show. It was a group that he had out of Pennsylvania called
Ghost Hunters Inc.
Ghost Hunters Inc.
Yeah.
And they would literally go around and make fun of right?
Paranormal investigators. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was their thing.
Dana, do you know where she came from?
Yes, she's a Canadian. Yeah.
She was on a show called Girly Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right. I remember that. Yes.
If you were to sit down and watch Girly Ghost Hunters, you'd be like, what the fuck? Don't get me wrong. I love them both. And again, you have to look at the approach that everything has been taken. Hillier is a well put together television series. Don't get me wrong. It's really good.
And it's made for TV.
Very, very entertaining.
Yeah.
But I mean, are you watching this to believe in something, or are you watching this as a piece of entertainment? Sorry,
I would say both.
But I mean, not everyone is though, right? Everyone is. There's some people that are watching this to believe that this is real.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are people that are watching this, well, hey, this is cool, very, very entertaining, and that's it. But there are people that are taking this and going, wow, this was real, and I want to expand on this sort of thing.
But here's the thing, though. Is it real, right? Now, I totally get it that the set pieces where they're in the house and they're talking to the camera saying, and then we went here and we went here to try and find out that's all scripted and put. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
But when they're out in the field and they're doing experiments and they're talking to people, hey, this guy was standing by the road. Let me talk. Excuse me, sir. All that stuff. Is that scripted or is that real? Right now, all this.
No, that's real.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Well, most of it is real.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think that's good that you brought up Javier, because it is like a piece to look at what's going on with modern paranormal entertainment or modern paranormal, TV or documentaries, because as we talked, they have a grounded approach, but everything they're doing is real, even if you follow them. And this is why I say it's real, because no matter what we may think and what really is going on, the whole thing about how you're specifically compared to any other show, it's years in the making.
Yeah.
They've been teasing this for years, and I know they can sell it the way they want to, but to sit on something like that for that many years,
right.
and then do this to be like, yo, I mean,
it's all fake. Was when the show first started coming on, and they released it for free on YouTube. And when you think of something with that high production quality, just you think I mean, season 2 came out on Amazon Prime, so I get that.
Yeah.
But the first season, I don't know, whatever it was, 10 episodes, I forget what, it was released for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the season 2. For the first month, I think it was exclusive on Amazon, and then after the first month, then it became free on YouTube again. I mean, that's amazing thinking to basically give your that high quality content, just give it away, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Demon House and all these other documentaries, you had to go direct to their
wait, Justin, I think you just pushed a button. you said the demon house
Steve
word. You just hit the button there. You got Steve's blood pressure's fucking climbing right now. The demon house.
They're all in the same vein, you know. Red Blood Sky. There's a few others that came out during that time. They're all in this just same vein that you got to buy it through them. And
American Ghost Hunter.
Oh yeah,
American Ghost Hunter. I saw all those. Yeah, Eventually, people, I know you've heard this before. Eventually, I am going to do a review of all those paranormal series. It's on the chopping block.
Just
but
do it. Do it.
You got to come up.
Yeah.
With your own.
Yeah, we'll all get them on there. But I've been following those, and you have to buy it. There's a limited release. You don't got the YouTube. You know, you had to go on, I think, Vudu and a few of them to even get it. You know, and it was all just, that's free.
How they get you.
Open to everybody.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. And then you don't hear about it anymore.
But then again, you know what? You know what though, dude? When I say that's how they get you, right? You know, but think of it. So, these people.
Yeah,
they gotta make a living, right? They have to,
of course.
They gotta. They have to eat. They have to put food on the table. They have to keep a roof over their. Well, but no, I mean, you're talking like normal human beings here. You know, we got like you and I. You know, we have to work. We got to work for the man. You know, to make a buck.
Production takes a long time.
No, of course, but if you're going to invest. To make a movie like that, you're investing huge amounts of your time, right? This is not this is not something you can knock out on the fucking weekend. Right? So you have to get something back, some kind of compensation. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
But it's very strange how if it's like, oh well, he's making money, or he's selling this, or he's doing that, and it's always this kind of negative connotation against someone. It's like, look, you know what? I've invested, months of my life working on this, and I got to give it away for free. Shouldn't I get something back for all the hard work that I put into this? You know, I mean, that kind of thinking is crazy, right?
That's what my friends tell me, that I'm wasting my time doing all this for free. Actually, they do. Because the stuff that you're going to find in Hellier, even though you see it visually, you could tell in a podcast. Nothing happens in those shows. I could literally do it in a podcast.
But it wouldn't be the same, though, Justin. I mean,
it wouldn't be the same.
The quality
and you can't.
It's
you can't sell it.
It's like going and get a gourmet steak at a restaurant, or just getting some fucking steak off some dude on the street, right? It's still a steak, but you know what I mean. One is going to be night and day. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Some meat glued pink slime steak. Yeah.
right. Because Hellier is a high quality product. It really is.
Yeah. Visually.
It's a high quality product.
The data that you get from it is there's nothing to it other than what they're showing us. Essentially, you can break it down, and that is the key. That's the only difference. The stuff that I do, I can literally do in podcasts and keep doing it on, and I should be for the years I've done. I probably should have made some money off it.
It's not the same. It's like look at a multi-billion-dollar movie. Look at Avengers: Infinity War, right?
But
I could have made a podcast telling that fucking stupid story just as well, but it's not the same. Listening to me saying, and Thor cut Thanos' fucking head off. It's not the same. It's not the same as actually fucking seeing it.
Yeah, but this isn't entertainment. This is history. This is people's beliefs. That's where I draw the line to some of the stuff, because there's an entertainment value because there's the story to sell. But really deep down, what are we really doing? We're trying to understand reality. That's the real bare bones. You strip away all that. It's like, what's going on in reality, and that's what we're really doing. There's nothing entertaining about that. Well, sure, if you want to sell something and sell stories, then go ahead, sell some stories. But in the end, what we're trying to do in the paranormal field is understand something we don't know. And that's where it does. That's where it changes. If we're trying to use things as somewhat of a valid thing, that's where
Steve just messaged me that he's got work in the morning. I'm a little disappointed by that. Can't you call in sick, Steve? Yeah, he said, I don't feel good. I can't come in. I got a headache. No, I hear you, man. I mean, I got
the Gareth bug.
Right. I got work tomorrow too, but then again, it's only 8:45 p.m. over here right now, so it's still
that's true.
it's still kind of
Wait,
early.
it's what time is it? 11:43 here.
Yeah, so getting a little late for you, but please stick around as long as you can. But if you got to bail, I totally understand.
God.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
I'm beat. I'm making a fool out of myself anyway.
Pull yourself together.
Pull yourself together. Yeah, we haven't even started talking about movies yet. Come on.
What movies? What little movies? Where?
Movies, like scary movies and stuff. Like I just bought The House That Dripped Blood for $12.
Classic movie. Classic.
Yeah, looking forward to watching that in HD. I got it on DVD, so it's not like I've never seen it before. I've seen it a million times, but I've yet to see it in full HD. So I'm looking forward to getting that in the mail over the next week or so.
Classic movie. There's so much about it. I mean, the individual stories and the surrounding story. That embodies it all. It is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's one of the best Amicus flicks.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah, that one. Well, there's a couple of Amicus that I really love. I love The House Drips Blood. I love Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. I love that one, and I love From Beyond the Grave. Those are my top three Hammer films. I'm sorry, not Amicus films. And I particularly like From Beyond the Grave because the opening title sequence is filmed. Where's it filmed, Steve? Come on.
Oh man, Highgate.
Yeah, it's filmed in Highgate Cemetery.
Yes, Highgate.
Wow.
And what's crazy is that movie, the opening scenes, the title sequence of From Beyond the Grave, it's not only is it filmed in Highgate Cemetery, but it's filmed at the time of when all this Highgate vampire shit was going down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's filmed at the exact moment when this stuff was actually happening, which is particularly wonderful.
Makes you think.
Yeah, because
is there really a Highgate vampire or not?
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Were there any set stories at all?
Like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know of any, Steve? I've never heard of it.
Offhand, no.
Because I mean, the opening sequence is like the camera's like panning through the Lebanon Circle in Highgate Cemetery when they got all this mist and stuff. It looks great. It looks really like atmospheric and creepy and everything. But that's obviously B-roll, right? It's obviously they had the assistant director like, hey, go out for 2 days and film the cemetery.
Yeah.
And then we'll edit that into the movie.
Establishing the scenes.
Exactly. It wasn't really a big deal, but it's a wonderful little moment at the beginning of the movie. The first story too with David Warner and the seance with the mirror. Oh, so great.
Classic. Great.
So great.
It's great. It's one of my favorites. I don't know what it is about the House That Dripped Blood that sort of holds that mantle, and I think it's the first actual story with Elliot there, and
the killer outside.
The whole, Damon.
That's very unnerving.
Damien.
Isn't it unnerving? That first episst the first story.
Unnerving.
It's very scary.
It is very scary, and some of the imagery, of there was a scene where Elliot's, having a drink and he looks up the stairwell and there's Damien staring down. It's just very unnerving. And it sort of gives you that. Did we lose Gareth?
No, I'm here.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm here. It's me. I'm still here.
Feeling. Just very unnerving.
Yeah. Let me see. I think Matthew Williams just let me see if he wants to come on. I can't even type. I can't even fucking type. I want to see if Matt wants to come on. I haven't talked to him for a while. Maybe he wants to come on here and tell us his crazy stories exploring places. But yeah, no, Steve, you're absolutely right. It's a wonderful movie, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting the Blu-ray and having a look at that and digging through. Do you have the Blu-ray? Is there extras on it, or is it just the movie? I don't know.
Beyond? Or
yeah, from Beyond the Grave.
No, I don't have the Blu-ray of that.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I bought the UK box set of the Amicus box set, and it came in like a coffin box.
I have that box set.
And you open it up with all the discs in it. Yeah, I bought that
Classic box.
like years ago. It's a wonderful box set. The only thing that sucks about it is that the discs keep fucking falling out of the.
I know. I have that. I have that one, and I also have the Pete Walker one that's like that.
Pete Walker?
Are you familiar with Peter Walker?
No. Tell me about that.
What?
Tell me.
Oh my God! Classic English director. The House of I'm just trying to think of his movies here. House of Whipcord.
Oh, yeah. House of Whipcord.
Flesh and Blood. The Flesh and Blood horror show. Oh God, he's the box set itself. I can't remember what's in the box set, but again, like the Amicus one, it's like a coffin and it's coffin shaped, and it has his classic films, man. I love Pete Walker.
Yeah, it's been years since I've seen House of Whipcord. Absolutely years.
Yeah. Oh,
I haven't seen it for a long time.
Have you ever seen The Comeback?
That does sound familiar.
Oh, really cool, man.
That does sound familiar. Who's in that?
Oh God. Oh, offhand, I could not tell you.
The Comeback.
Oh, I can't remember the guy's name. Classic English actor. Oh,
The Comeback. That sounds. It sounds super familiar. Let me do a search for it.
The Comeback by Pete Walker.
The Comeback. Don't call it a comeback. Let's see. Comeback movie. Are you a horror movie guy, Justin? I don't ever talk to you about this.
Of course.
Yeah.
No. But you guys, I'm more 80s and above. You guys are more the 70s and 60s there.
No.
Oh, with Jack Jones. Jack Jones is in it. Yeah, I remember.
That's it.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just thinking about this movie the other day, actually.
Yeah, Jack Jones, Pamela Stevenson, David Doyle, Sheila Keith. Sheila Keith was like, I don't know if she was. She was in every.
She's been in tons of stuff. A million movies.
Especially with Pete Walker films.
Yeah, she's still. And you know what's really fucking crazy, dude, is that Sheila Keith. She's still alive.
Oh, she died.
No, she's still alive.
What do you mean she's still alive?
Oh no, she's dead. Yeah, you're right. I read
it. Yeah, no, she passed away. Yeah, I remember that when she passed away.
I read it wrong. Yeah, you're right. She dead.
Yeah, no, she passed away a long time ago.
She gone. Yeah, she's gone
to
the great horror movie films, in the sky.
Yeah. She's been in pretty much a shitload of Pete Walker films.
Yeah, The House of Whipcord. It's been many years since I've seen that movie. Many years. I haven't seen it for a long time.
Well, there's a nice box set out there. If you got the Amicus one, it's a lot like the Amicus one, only it's Pete Walker films.
Yeah. I gotta up my game on classic horror, dude. I gotta get some more shit. I gotta get some more DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. I know that I gotta show you this, man. Before you rush off to bed. What do you think of this?
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Look at this.
The Night Stalker.
Wow, look at that
Look
VHS.
at this.
I know I have VHS as well.
Look at that, dude. Look at that thing. Look at that.
Look at that, man. I know I've got my VHS around
The
somewhere.
Night Star. I watched the entire
It's a color
over the
movie.
last month.
It's a color Nancy.
Over the last month, I watched the entire series on VHS.
Wow.
I watched the whole thing, and it was wonderful.
One of the better paranormal
It was
shows.
wonderful.
Oh, great show. Great movie. I mean, great TV series.
And Justin, you should love it because it's set in Chicago.
Yeah. I seen a few episodes. I didn't really jump on the Kojak train, but
What?
I have seen. Yeah, it was kind of. Well, I guess some of it was in the '80s, right? How long did that run?
No, it was in the early '70s.
In the 70s.
It was the early '70s. Yeah. Like I was saying, most of my stuff, I'm an '80s guy, so a lot of things I've seen, a lot of the TV shows.
Here comes the excuses now. Here we go.
I know. It was just like Tales from the Dark Side, those types of TV shows.
There we go. Let me add. I'm gonna add Matt. Matt just joined us.
Oh, okay.
Hang on. Let me try and get this fucking working. Hang on. My screen is all jacked up here.
But yeah, I love movies like Basket Case.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a classic.
Yeah, Basket Case is great. Are you there, Matt? Can you hear us?
1, 2, or 3.
There he is. You got the.
Yeah, it's a movie about brotherly love.
I just
That's
heard
what
a
it's really
can.
about.
Here you go, Justin.
There he is. There's Matt. Hey, Matt. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm
things?
absolutely knackered. We've had an awesome day of exploring today. It's just crazy.
Can you guys hear him?
And my eyes are burning because I'm so tired.
No,
and I just got back in. I've taken a caffeine tablet to try and wake myself up. And I'm taking this to try and knock myself out. So one way or the other, something's going to win.
You got some beer going there?
He's got some beer going there.
He does. What? Just share the beer. What beer is that, Matt? Hold that up. Let's have a look.
It's Little Special.
Little Special.
Yeah. I don't know. You don't get this like Littles thing in the States, yeah?
No, we don't get Littles. We get.
What's your equivalent?
Biggles.
This is like
I think
imported.
You can't hear him.
From,
can you hear Matt?
No, I can't hear him.
It's fucking software, dude. It's great. I can hear you.
Can't hear me.
Well, no, I can hear you, and the broadcast can hear you, but the other guys on Skype can't because you're not on Skype. You're on that link I posted.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're son of
Do you want
a
me to
bitch.
come on? You want me to come on Skype?
Yeah, jump on Skype, and I can pull you in. It'll be better, actually.
Have you got a way to send me the link, or do you want me to just call you?
Well,
just
real quick, Steve, what were you about to say?
Jump on Skype, and I'll add you to the call.
Okay.
All right. See you in a minute.
Catch you in a minute.
What were you saying? Sorry, Justin, what?
There you go.
Yeah, you were going to mention a TV show or some movie after I said Basket Case?
New York Ripper.
New York. No, I don't think I've seen that one. No.
You've never seen the New York Ripper. Oh.
If I have, I might have. But like, if I can, off the top of my head, movies would always be the Nightmare on Elm Street.
All the '80s
main
stuff.
ones.
That's your go-to.
Yeah. Basket Case, Maniac Cop,
Steve.
Oh, Maniac Cop.
Steve, did you get the Blu-ray box set of Friday the 13th?
I'm working on it, buddy. Haven't got it yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I was very tempted to pick it up, but I did not.
It's a must. I have to grab it.
I was very tempted.
As much as it has its flaws, I
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. As crazy as it gets, it's all good.
Yeah. It's all good.
Well, you ever watch? See, and then of course the horror series I watched was like Friday the 13th, the series. You ever seen that?
Classic Canadian shot in Canada, by the way.
I love that series. That was one of my favorites. I think I mentioned Tales from the Dark Side. Another one was Monsters.
Oh yeah, I remember Monsters. Yeah, there we go. There's Matt. Now we can see you, Matt.
Hello.
Now we got
there
you.
We
there
go.
He is.
We have audio.
Now we can see and hear you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So what?
That looks like a Stella Artois.
It does look like a Stella.
It's a rip-off of Stella Artois. It is. That's what it's about.
Yeah, it looks.
It's just a lot cheaper.
It's Littles.
Yeah.
It's like a cheap.
It's like a budget store in the UK.
So if you buy
can...
if you buy a 6-pack of Littles, how much is that for like a 6-pack?
They sell them in 4-packs. You know, we don't get. Well, you can kind of get 6-packs, but mostly it's 4s, and it's £2.50 for 4. So it works out about 60-70 pence a can, something like that. It's not bad.
That's not bad. £6 for 4.
It does the trick.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. All right, I got us all lined up now in like a cube. To cube this. So you like my
cube?
You like my Millennium Falcon background, Matt? You think that's pretty cool?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, your graphics, you look fine, but I think we all look shit on YouTube.
Yeah,
we're like broken up to hell.
Hey,
shoddy.
Hey. As long as I look fine,
sorry.
That's fine. It's okay.
Of course. Typical Gareth.
That's the main thing. As long as I look good, who gives a fuck?
Various forms of buffering.
The buffering.
Hey, you don't want to see my zits anyway, so.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So tell us, you went on an adventure today, Matt. What'd you get up to?
Well, hello everybody in the chat as well, by the way. Hi guys. Went on an explore. We went to do. I can't say just yet exactly what we went to do, but we went to a port, let's say, and we spotted something we wanted to do, and we have to go back again to do it because now this was a reconnaissance mission. Yeah. So now we know how to do it. We have to get special access to certain places to do it. So, But then I said, well, I'm sorry because we didn't manage to pull it off today. I said, hey, why don't we go and do some stuff I know about in London? So I took them to see an underground bunker that we've seen before. And I'm going to be a bit circumspect here. I don't think many of my viewers are going to be watching, but the trouble is people do go racing to these places when we talk about them. So, and I want to see if we can get our mates in there. So anyway, all I'm going to say is we went to see an underground bunker, and we got into another one around the corner that we'd never been in. And I've been 5 times to this place, and we got into this new one. It's never been filmed. So everybody was really just buzzing tonight. It was great. And I don't think this place has been seen since 2013.
I look forward to seeing it. I don't know whether Steve or Justin, if you've seen any of Matt's videos, The Secret Vault, but he goes urban exploring in underground bunkers and military bases, disused bases, and it's phenomenal. It's fucking mind blowing. You see some of the shit he gets up to. You're like,
when are you gonna allow him to come into your bunker?
oh, behave, matron. It's
open me a passage.
I would strongly recommend all of you shoot over to The Secret Vault and check out some of Matt's content because he does some phenomenal explores, and you're watching them and you're thinking like, how the fuck is he getting away with this? It's so amazing, so really really cool. But Matt is also heavily into the paranormal and ufology and crop circles. He just published an amazing interview. Matt, I just stumbled across it by accident. I jumped on your channel and you were interviewing a UFO witness from the 1950s. And it was a great interview. Really, really well done. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was glued it was like an hour-long interview, and I was hooked. Really, really cool. How did you find that guy?
Well, Steve Wills, who is a UFO researcher in Warminster, he picked up the case. He likes to go around all the cases that are in his area and rediscover them, and he just said, would I come along, film it, because I got the film equipment. And I said, well, we can drone it as well because of the fact that there was a location. And I thought it lent itself very well, the drone, to flying over the area where the person had the sighting. And, I put it's pretty basic, but it works. It's kind of like basic CGI sort of graphics to represent what the guy saw.
Yeah.
Not overcooking it, because I'm a big believer in not editing down what people say, apart from the coughs and the ums and the natural pauses. You should just keep their interview in the original style and context so that people can kind of get an idea of whether or not they believe the person. I think that's something you lose often with television programs dealing with the paranormal. It's all cut, very highly polished. I prefer to just
right. No,
YouTube lends itself to that. It's good.
The guy that you interviewed, I did not get the BS vibe from him at all. I thought he was being completely legitimate and honest and upfront, and to the best of his recollection, remembering events from 50 plus years ago. Right, it's a long time ago. But he had an amazing encounter, and I believed him. I didn't think he was full of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll tell you something on here that it didn't go out on the piece, because I think it's because of his family members. He was a bit embarrassed. It kind of came across off camera that he actually said, and people took him down for this. They were like, he said he had a drink. He went out for a drink. He wasn't out for a drink that night. He was out seeing a lady friend.
Uh-huh.
There was no drink involved. But he said he was having a drink, and then because people picked up on that and said, "Oh, he saw a UFO, did he? He had a drink." And he's like, that wasn't actually what he was doing, but he didn't want to say that.
Right. He's trying to keep that on the down low. But an amazing encounter, too. Very cool. One of the things that stuck in my mind from watching that interview is when he described the way the saucer took off. It lifted up, tipped to the side, and then shot off. Exactly the same way that Bob Lazar described the way the saucers at S4 flew. I found that very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. This is it. I mean, when you go into detail, and that's why I like to sort of dig deeper than these newspaper reports and things you hear, and I think you get that with the witnesses. Yeah. So, you speak to them, try and pick out all the details. He said, he heard a sound, but then I don't think anybody had really gone into what the sound was. And I was like, well, what's the sound? And can you describe it? And he was going through that, and what was the color then? How would you kind of describe that? And you can pin people down when they tell you the story the first time. They just basically put a sketch in there, and then what you're doing is you're putting in all the colors and detail. So, it's good. I enjoyed it.
I noticed during the interview that it was Steve who was doing the main bulk of the interview. He was trying to wrap it up, and you were like, "Well, I got a couple more questions."
Hang on a minute.
I got a couple more questions I want to ask you here, and he just pulling, pulling the information out of him. I thought it was great. I hope you do more stuff like that, because I thought that was totally fascinating. So we're on with Steve Janier and Justin Villarreal. Steve is the host and creator of the Nocturnal Frequency radio show. I know, Matt, that you've been on the Mindset where we've played that clip where...
Not the Nocturnal Radio Frequency Show. What's the thing he said at the end? What's the end thing that I go, what did he just say at the end?
Everyone's haunted or something, or no. It's the what's the one you say, Steve, where without going into churches, without vomiting or something?
Oh, the David Ferrant diatribe.
Yeah.
David Ferrant.
Yeah. It's a great little clip.
It is. It's a great little clip. I love it.
David did that, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, David did that.
Yeah. So Justin and
just going to churches without
vomiting. Yeah.
It's like dolphins from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Right. It makes vomiting.
Going
to churches.
Because what did you say? He said, was he saying formatting? I said, yeah, he's got to format his computer when he goes into a church. It's like, but
it needs a subtitle. I think some of that needs subtitling.
Yeah, it's a great ad. But Steve and Justin, heavily into the paranormal and are ghost hunters. They go on vigils and hauntings and searching for not evidence for what did you call it, Steve? For find. You don't like the word evidence. What do you call it instead? Findings. And Steve has captured some of the most amazing EVPs. We played them on a show a while ago, and the EVPs were like clear as fuck, like breathtaking in these locations. So Justin's in Chicago and Steve's in Canada.
Yep.
We're all over the place tonight. Speak to you guys.
Uh-huh.
I like that stuff as well, and I do some of it with a UK-based researcher, and we've had some weird stuff happen to us when we've been filming. But I don't put it on my channel. Right. I kind of allude to it, then cut, and I let people go and have a look at it on his channel because I don't want to sort of duplicate what he's filming. Right.
You know? Yeah, you don't want to dilute.
We've had some great stuff.
But you did have that video, Matt, which was intriguing. And I know what I'm about to say sounds ridiculous, but it really did happen. Where you had your pants pulled down by a ghost.
How did I know you were going to say that?
I mean, it sounds stupid as fuck. It sounds ridiculous, right? But it did happen.
It happened to me once getting thrown out of a nightclub where the nightclub guys decided that they were going to rugby tackle me to the ground. I hadn't done anything, right? They were going to rugby tackle me to the ground and then frog march me out with my hands behind my back and then by the legs. And just before they got me out through the door, they pulled my trousers and everything down, so I was bare-arsed and my genitalia was out.
There you go.
And then threw me on the street, which I thought was a bit excessive. And then, funnily enough, I had my trousers pulled down by a ghost. So it's like two times in my life.
But Steve and Justin, here's the crazy thing is that Matt was on where was it, like a hospital or something, a disused hospital or some shit. And
it's what they call the Royal
Infirmary, but it's shut down. Nobody's in there. It's disused. And you were doing some EVP work and stuff and talking, and you felt hands grab your pants and pull them down, right? And no,
I didn't.
But here's the crazy thing, though.
Anything?
But you got this on video.
It just went straight down really quickly.
But you got this on video.
And we had people standing behind who were sitting down watching what was going on whilst we were doing this session, this EVB session. And they just said that the trousers just came down. And I said, look, everybody come here. And I pulled them up again. And I said, you try and pull them down. Because the weird thing was I didn't feel hands pull them down. And it was impossible to pull them over what I had in my pockets. Because it's not normally that when you're sort of doing things, you have two sets of trousers on. I actually had my own trousers and I had suit trousers. Don't ask, it's a long thing. We actually had suits on top of our trousers, so we were all dressed the same. It was almost like we were trying to do like a Ghostbusters kind of vibe, like we were all going in dressed in suits, just for a bit of fun. Never done it before. But the thing was, I had my wallet and my keys in my pocket, and I had the suit done up tight, so the trousers done up tight. And you couldn't get those down over. You had to unzip and unbutton the trousers to get them down over the thing. So I said, they can't come down. So how have they come over? They literally, it's almost like like a ghost passing through a wall. These trousers got down,
they pulled them down
over the bulges that meant they couldn't come down.
It was as if,
and I didn't really feel them come down. I just knew that they were down. That was it. It was just down.
It was like a playful thing, though, right? That? It was like it was playing with you.
You're getting a checkup.
Yeah,
indeed. I thought it was like a child spirit, and I said, you're playing with me. This is how it kind of started. I was like, there was something happening. I said, you're there and you're watching us, and I was going, you're spying on us, and I was like playing with the spirit, and the EVP thing was going crazy. And then I said, like, I can see you, and I can't remember exactly how it went, but I was trying to sort of like, engage the child on a child level.
Yeah.
And then something happened, and then the trousers went down. It's almost like the kid ran up and pulled the trousers down.
We didn't need a Boo Bear. We just needed him and his.
Hey, your video's gone really clear.
Which one?
Great.
Are they clearing up?
Is this Justin?
Yes,
Justin.
Hopefully.
There we are.
Yeah. Wolfman Jack.
Yeah.
Wolfman Jack. Yeah. So,
but I mean, that's just one little thing that happened to us, and I love all that stuff.
There was another
I
time, Matt, where you were telling me that you went into an underground base where it was like a Faraday cage. You couldn't get any cell phone, no nothing, and you had a spirit box which scans through the radio frequencies, and you were getting some pretty good evidence with that. You want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, some of you guys, I mean, probably heard of these frequency repeaters where they go through the bands, the radio bands, and then they just loop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some ghost people use those. Some of them use these recorders, voice recorders, and they play them back and that sort of stuff. But on this night, he'd set this little repeater thing up, and it was going through the frequencies. And then you ask questions, and sometimes it seems like you hear a voice or two or three voices, and when you put it together, it sounds like something, or it sounds like you ask a question like, "How did you die?" and it goes like fire, and it's like it could have been somebody talking about the fire in the building in Chicago earlier on, but it's just you get that response, and then you might ask a question later, then you'll get a similar response. It's like putting the things together, so it can be interesting sometimes, although. It doesn't often lead to great findings, but it can be interesting at the time. But what was peculiar about this one, we were in a cave, and there was no radio signal. So you turn it on, there is no radio signals. You start asking questions, suddenly you're getting things coming through. Now, normally when you're out in a normal environment, you'd be getting lots of radio and music and things like that coming through. This place was just white noise, nothing. It was in a cave, and then boof, 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 things were popping through when we were asking questions.
That's the most intriguing part of it, though, is if you're out in a regular normal place, and you're obviously, the machine's going to pick up radio signals from everywhere. But if you're in a location underground where there's no radio frequencies, where you're essentially in a Faraday cage underground, but you're still getting responses, I find that compelling.
Yeah.
The skeptics would say, you're just picking up radio stations and music, and you're putting a lot into it. You're actually sort of. You're hearing what you want to hear. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, that sort of thing. It's kind of like, but yeah, when you're in a cave and you're not getting any radio signals, and then suddenly you start getting that stuff through. To me, I'd be wanting to do more radio stuff in caves, because that was when we had some good.
Where you know that there's no radio signals down there, and then you're getting like a real test of the equipment, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Steve? I mean, because I know earlier on we were talking about ghost hunter equipment and the like. Having one of those spirit boxes, but in a location where there is no radio frequency.
Well, it's a good environment to have something like that in. Yeah, obviously. I don't know. I've always been skeptical with them. Period. I've never been a big proponent of ghost boxes or spirit boxes or Frank boxes or whatever incantation they are. It doesn't mean that they're not a good tool to employ in certain situations. I mean, if you're able to have some interesting evidence in an environment like that, then that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of similar? Didn't you have, I think, in one of the farmhouses, Steve, where you were getting EMF frequencies or something like that, or you're getting recordings out of the middle of nowhere? I forget.
Yeah, an old abandoned farmhouse that had quite an interesting background to it. But yeah, there was absolutely no electricity at all. That would sort of interfere with something like that, and it was producing some relatively interesting phenomena.
Yeah, I've never had anything personally, that would attribute to that. Other than one time, I was using an EMF reader along this particular place that has some pretty good history. and the batteries drained. That was the only time that anything, going on with any equipment that would have like hindered to anything like that. But yeah, I
you
had
hear that a
batteries
lot
drained
though,
on me
right? Where
before.
batteries will drain
Yeah.
inexplicably,
Oh, yeah.
just like you're out and you have the battery's fully charged, and
Yeah,
you go to
yeah.
location, suddenly it's 50%, and then it's just fucking dead.
Yeah.
We had that happen quite a lot at an old mansion built by a Scottish immigrant that had quite an interesting past to it, but all that was left was just a small makeshift house that the wife of the person who built it was living on. They had lost all their money, and but they obviously still own the land, and she was living out of a little hut beside this place. It was called the Hermitage, and we were in there investigating, and a lot of the equipment that we had set up visually and audibly, all were having issues and with the battery power constantly shutting down. It was quite unique.
It's very strange how something like that would happen.
Yeah.
Very, very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. Is everyone still drinking? I'm thinking I should go get another drink. Is everyone drinking?
I wish. I'm pretty much gone, guys.
It's pretty late for you. I mean, it's only it's only 9
early morning.
It's just 9:20 over here for me, but for you it's like what is it? What time is it over? What time is it where you are, Steve? It's got to be like 12:30 or something. 12:20.
Oh wow! Yes, yeah.
It's 11. It's 11:20.
Come on, it's early in the morning there.
And where Matt is at, it's 5:20 in the morning.
It's early in the morning for Matt.
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
Tomorrow.
I mean, it's interesting about the batteries. You say. I mean, sometimes when we've done spirit sessions, it seems like afterwards, sometimes we've been feeling drained, and the thing that I hear a lot is people sort of like. They feel dehydrated. They've got to drink a lot of water. It's almost like interaction with spirit sometimes kind of like drains you. And I wonder whether, in some way that the spirits may be draining the batteries. It's a way of like using energy. Because sometimes when we're doing a session, we say like, if you want to use my energy, like use my energy. So you're offering it to kind of to help something manifest.
Have you guys run into this where you're in an area with a lot of paranormal activity, and when you go in, it feels like the pressure has changed? Like when you're when you're on an airplane and you go up and the pressure changes.
Yeah.
You guys.
I've even been disoriented.
That's fairly common, right?
Yeah. I the particular place I was talking about earlier, St. Pat's. I was there multiple times besides that story I told, and traveled the back areas. I kind of knew where I was. And every once in a while, I'm back there and I get lost. And I'm like, how am I lost? I know exactly where I'm at. And it feels like I'm disoriented, like it's just a little different, a little off. And I've always felt it in this particular area. And then some areas, like the silo was the same thing. We kept trying to find this area, and it was just like we couldn't really figure it out, and it felt like we were in a haze. Like it put us in a haze to even trying to find where the silo was. And there was the only few times that I've ever felt that type of feeling, in two of those, those two type of spots there. But most definitely St. Pat's.
How about you, Steve? Have you run into that? Like a pressure change?
Oh yeah. Quite often actually. It just like I said, there was one situation when we were doing an old farmhouse again, and a little bit of a pressure change, but I had this overwhelming feeling that there was children present. And again, I'm not psychic in the slightest, but it just caused me to think that, look at there's children present. I'm going to start gearing and interact towards children, and it kind of paid off in terms of whatever evidence, findings, whatever were sort of garnished from there. So yeah,
that's true. Though you do get a vibe, like if you're in a room and there are children in the room or have been in the room, even if you haven't seen them, you do get that feeling that it's a different energy.
Yeah,
that's in the room when children are. It's akin to let's say two people are having a really, really crazy argument in a room, and then they leave, and you walk into the room right after the argument. You can still feel the argument, even though it's over and they've left. When you walk into the room, you still kind of feel it. You know?
Yeah. Like we're imprinting. I always feel like something that's more or less we're imprinting ourselves.
It's very strange.
That's why I feel most hauntings are. It's just like this memory of whatever energy you put into something. So if it's a death, that's why we see it. And I feel like that's part of that. We are putting a lot into the environment, and that's how sometimes that's why things are become questionable with what you're experiencing too. I think Gareth mentioned once about doing the tarot. It's like how much is not just your subconscious and how much is it really you. And that's like that's the line I draw. I'm trying to tip over is like how much is projection and how much are we receiving, and but given the cave experience, I think that does kind of make you put in question of what's there when you eliminate kind of a lot of things going on, and that kind of makes it kind of questionable what is happening. But the majority of it is like us pressing in there, putting our own energy into things, imprinting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not terribly scientific about the way we. Oh, good night, Steve. Good night, guys. What's that?
You got to leave, Steve. All right, Steve. Okay. Yeah. Good night. We'll talk to you very soon.
Guys.
Have a good one.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Take it easy, man. Later.
We do some of these things, which is a shame. But I think for myself, I'm not necessarily out to prove to the world, the reality of this. I'm kind of saying, well, I believe in this. If you believe in this, you've obviously come that step. This is where we're at. Mm-hmm. But from a scientific point of view, it would be interesting. If you're definitely getting repeatable things happening, is when you go to a place that you should write down with little emotion what's going on, what you're feeling, what you're sensing, smelling, tasting, precious changes and what have you. And then at the end, you should confer notes. That would be scientific. But I think what we will tend to find is that there's so much happens that like shocks the hell out of us that we're all kind of just on a roller coaster and we experience it and we say to each other what we're having, but then people would say, well, that's psychosomatic. You're feeding your own idea of what's there. But it's like, well, when things doors slam and stuff like that, that's not us. We're not capable of doing that. So and the building shakes and we've had strange feelings and big temperature changes. It's like it's really sort of like does everybody feel the room's gone cold? It's like yeah actually, and it's just like the room's just gone really cold, and it and we all went, yeah, that just happened. It just really went cold, and sort of it's to a lot of people who watch it, they're going like, oh, they just make this stuff up. It's like I just really hope that people get those experiences for themselves one day. Go out and try it, but. It would seem like complete. I always say it seems like complete bullshit to people who have not experienced it.
Yeah, it really does. It seems
if you haven't experienced it.
I agree completely. It seems like nonsense when you hear people talking about this stuff. You're like, yeah, whatever. But it's not. It's fucking not. I remember, Matt, you told me the story when you were driving somewhere in Wales and on a whim you stopped at like a spiritualist church.
That was really weird.
As a goof, you're like, fuck it, come on, we'll go in for a laugh. It'll be a laugh. And you went in for a goof, and immediately when you went in there, the medium fucking picked you out.
Zeroed in on us straight away. It was totally random. A guy called Russell Heyman. I haven't seen him for years, actually, but he asked me to build him a computer. I said, well, okay, we will have to go to a place. A supplier is way away. It's in Swansea. And we ended up taking a route that I hadn't taken before. And so, I on the way back, after collecting all this computer equipment, we passed a tin shack, a tin shack. And it was just like out in the middle of nowhere. Like you had houses, then the houses stopped, the road kept going. And then there's a tin shack, and I was just like, it's just weird because it's like, well, what's that building on its own? So I just kind of like looked as I was passing by, and I went, Spiritualist church? What?
Mm-hmm.
What's that doing there on its own? It's just like weird thing. It's like almost like the carnival that doesn't exist. It's like Spiritualist church. It's like, okay. So I said, hey, is a Spiritualist church there? And he went, now he's into this kind of stuff, but he doesn't go. He's into it, but he doesn't go into it.
Right.
He's into the concept. And I just said, Spiritualist church. I said, the door seemed open, like it was if it was I said, there can't be a Spiritualist church on like a weekday, like in the middle of the day. This is like weekends and evenings, surely. I mean, it can't be open now. I said, do you want to go and just like see what's going on there, And he went, yeah, okay. So we turned the car around, parked his car. It's like, it seems to be open. We walked in. It's like, hey, there's people in there. There's people in there. Shh. It's like, so I poked our head around the corner. It's like, and I said, hey, they probably won't mind if we come in if it's a proper session. And he was like, do you want to come in and sit down? He was like, yeah, okay. So we went in and sat down, and I said, look, just clear your mind, right? And if you've got a question, right, and you focus that question, if you get any reaction, don't smile, don't nod, just be very, very blank, and let's try and keep it scientific, and just see what happens. He's like, okay. So I asked a question about somebody that I knew that had committed suicide, and my friend asked about his mother who had passed away. And no sooner had I formulated the question, the woman said, at the back, you're asking about your friend who committed suicide. I went,
wait, let me clarify here. You're asking this question in your head, right? You're not verbalizing it.
No.
This is purely you're just thinking it in your head, and they zoom in on you.
Yep. And she said, you're asking about your friend, and she said he's like suicide, hung himself. And I was like, I was trying not to do the thing, It's like I was just like nodding gently, like, sort of, but, and she said, he said he's fine, nobody really knew why he did it. And he didn't explain why he'd done it. And that's what caused a lot of confusion for a lot of people, because it was unexpected. And he said that, but don't worry, he had his problems, but he didn't, tell people. But he's okay now. He's not sort of in any trouble at the moment, and he's like, he's fine. He just wants you to know that he's fine now. And he says, is that okay for you? And I went, okay, thanks. And he said, and she went straight to my friend. She went, right, you're asking about your mother. Her name is Lucy, and came from Liverpool. And she just went bang, 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 bang. And he was like, my mum's name was Lucy. She was from Liverpool.
Wow.
And this was afterwards, and it was just like bang, 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 bang. Mine was a little bit more vague.
It's amazing.
His was dung, 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 dung. I mean,
it's incredible.
Unless,
I see how,
unless they're looking up.
How is that
looking up his car registration and able to go through his genealogy, on a computer or something.
Right, but you're just thinking these questions in your head, though. It's not like you're verbally saying, "Excuse me, I have a question about." No, you're just thinking it.
Yeah, and the thing is, I've actually gone to spiritualist churches thinking I'm going to go to a spiritualist church with people I know who go there.
Yeah.
And had nothing from it. Found it rather twee. Couldn't get on with the fact that they wanted to sing hymns, so it was like being in church and all that. And I was playing along with it, and I was like,
and yet this totally random.
There's only so much of this I can take. There's only so much of this. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're driving along, and it's like, oh, random. Would you like to go to a spiritualist church? You've not been to one of these. And he's like, no, let's go in there. And I wasn't expecting anything because it was just so random. And then it was like bang, 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 bang. When you least expect it, it's almost when you want things really badly, you don't get them. When you go, oh, I tell you what, forget it, then I give up, and it's like bang, you get it.
It's like
the cosmic Joker.
It really is. It's like maybe Justin can chime in on this. It's like it's like magic, right? When you do ritual magic to ask, and you're asking for a specific outcome, and you go through a ritual to make that outcome come true. it might come true, but it's not going to come true the way you expect it to come true.
Yeah. Yeah, some things take a bit before you even get to that point, or depending on the probability of the intent or whatever you're trying to accomplish, it may not be, but there is something about, certain practices where you do a ritual and you forget about it. And that's what's the whole key about it, is just forgetting and letting it be. And that's probably part of a lot of our life. Even with intuition or meditation, you have to be in like a clear mind. You kind of just gotta let things bother you. You got to clear your mind and let it be free and open, and thus the information comes, what you're looking for. And I think that's part of it, is part of the mind, part of the mind, how we're dealing with things. A lot of this, I feel, is just mind. It's all our intuition that we're projecting or taking in. I feel
it always reminds me of the remember the old ghost story or horror story, The Monkey's Paw. You remember that? The monkey's paw.
Yes.
That's because the father, he wants his son back, right? And he wants his son back from the dead. And he does get his son back from the dead, but it's not what he expects it to be. And I think
all rituals, you got to be specific.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
You got to be specific.
It will happen. It will come true, but not necessarily the way you think it will.
Yes.
Well, Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, he wants to bring his father back from the dead, doesn't he?
Does he?
But he wants to do it through computers. Yeah. No, all of his Amazon stuff, and he's like, I am going to take over the world with Amazon. It's all to
bring his dad
creating.
Back.
He wants to bring his father back from the dead, but he's thinking that he's going to recreate him through like virtual reality, like it's going to be a facsimile of his father. It's going to be. It won't
really be his dad then. It'll be like a copy or something.
It'll be a copy made up of stories and things that are known about him. Maybe even quantum. One day, quantum stuff will kind of be pulling stuff out of the ether. Perhaps,
there was a great episode of Black Mirror like that. Remember that with the. On Black Mirror with the android. Remember that one where this woman, her husband dies, and she's devastated, and then this company contacts her, this AI company, and says, you know what, we can go through all of your husband's social media, all of his tweets and his Facebook, and we can compile all that. And we can create a virtual version of him online where you can talk to him based on, and we'll build his personality. So she says, okay, and she does that, and she's talking away to this, and it's like, oh my God, it's really him, but it's not. It's just the AI thing in the background. And then a few years go by, and the same company says, well, now we can create a robot which looks exactly like your husband. And we can download all the information from all his social media and everything and create a personality. So she orders the robot. This fucking big box comes in the mail. She opens the box, switches it on, and out from the fucking box walks her husband. And she starts talking to him, and it's like, oh my God, he's back. He's back from the fucking dead. I mean, it's not him, but it's. You know what I mean? To all intents and purposes.
It is. I mean, DNA is just a genetic code. I mean, it's just coding. And I mean, we're just that fine line of what that code is.
So maybe Jeff Bezos is onto something. Maybe he's going to bring his dad back, and his dad's going to be like, what the fuck have you done with all this Amazon bullshit, you retard?
Yeah.
You kind of look like Jeff Bezos.
What's the matter with you?
And he's like, Jeff, you're just a friggin' useless dropout like you were all ago. Look what you gonna done. You gonna brought me back.
Get to your room.
What's wrong with you?
Get to your
really
room,
my
you
dad.
fuck.
Yeah, he hates me.
Yeah. He hates me.
I loved it when he hated me.
Yeah, he really hates me.
He hates me again.
It's exactly like him.
You worthless fuck. You're just like your mother. Who knows?
Oh my God!
Dad's back. So great.
Well, I didn't see that Black Mirror thing, but I'm guessing that there's going to be some element of like she ends up sleeping with the robot, then the robot cheats on her with somebody else because that was part.
No, not quite.
That was
It,
part
That's
of
what
her.
it did.
It gets to the point where the robot becomes so convincing that she's convinced that it really is her husband, but then she realizes that it's not, and the only way she can be free of this facsimile is she tells the robot to jump off a cliff at the end, because she realizes that she's just living a lie. It's all make believe, and she can't go on. So she decides to have the robot kill himself. And he jumps off a cliff. But it was a good episode. It was really good. Yeah. Black Mirror.
I remember the one where they died and they put the soul in an egg or something like that. They digitized the soul and put it in an egg.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one.
I think that was a Black Mirror episode. But I mean, we're getting to that point of literally scanning our memories, scanning our thoughts, and we can always make a digital copy of ourselves. This could be an interesting future. Probably in the next 50, 100 years.
Yeah.
I had to chuckle at the one where the British Prime Minister was forced to have
to fuck a pig.
Carnal knowledge of a porcine.
That was so awesome. That was so great. Yeah, he had to fuck a pig.
The first episode, that's what we really.
And I'm not talking about his wife.
No. and the twist as well. The twist at the end. It's like after he did all that, and they'd let her go.
Oh, that's great.
He didn't even have to do it.
I know.
He didn't even have to do it. It was like, oh.
It's a great
Charlie
show.
Brooker, you're a sick man.
It's
Charlie
great.
Brooker.
It's very disturbing, but it's wonderful. You know, it's like you see that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix? Her.
No, I want to though. I wanted to.
I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it, but I found it very disturbing. And the reason I found it disturbing because it's not that far from reality.
No.
It's very close to, you think 10, 20 years from now that's what it's going to be. Where a man falls in love with a computer program, basically.
Well, we got the sex dolls already, and that's an interesting thing happening. I think they're already marrying them, and then you got a couple. They're marrying pillows, anime pillows.
Anime,
Anime. It's already crazy as it is with what they're doing, but eventually we're gonna see it. Yeah, we're already doing it.
We're already doing
it. There's like those Japanese sort of dolls which kind of animated and some people want to marry those. I think as well.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Well, it's not ridiculous. Whatever makes people happy.
I want to marry a doll. There's like a subculture in Japan of young men that like never leave the house. They never go outside. They just stay in the house on their own. They live alone in their apartment, and they just never go outside ever.
Yeah. It's almost what we have here. It's what's modeled here. Video game culture.
But this was before lockdown. This was like this is way before the lockdown shit. This was like normal life. It's so bizarre, man. It's so fucking crazy.
Well, part of it is because they live so close quarters. I had a friend of mine say it's like you can't even have sex there because you could hear you have no privacy almost, and then a lot of it they kind of grow up within their families because it's just so much easier to live. So you're always either by yourself because that's the only space you got, or you just have a bunch of people around you. So why leave? Why do anything else? You become a shut-in almost.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called, a shut-in. Or something like
basically.
that. But the suicide rate in Japan with the COVID and everything is currently through the roof. People are
I did not know this.
People are fucking topping themselves every minute over there.
Yeah. Well,
I hadn't heard that, but then you don't hear a lot about the truth about COVID. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
True.
The truth about COVID. Yeah. Are you guys still in lockdown over there in the UK? Are you still that nonsense still chugging along nicely?
They got multiple tiers. Multiple tiers, and they're basically changing things and confusing things, and they're saying, well, in this part of the country you can have this and that, and then somewhere else you can have something else, and it's a mess. It's a real mess, and I think people are bored of it and tired of it, and they're distrusting of it. So a lot of people are just going out and doing their thing. So the government had come along and said, oh, we're going to double down now. We're going to definitely make sure you do what we say. Yeah. And I mean, just a lot of people, it's like V for Vendetta. It's like, oh, you're going to tell us to stay in a house, and you're going to shout at us through megaphones instructions, and you're going to have the secret police going through the streets, seeing what you're doing. Are you in or are you out? And it's like, And instead of being like 1984, where they had to stand in front of a screen and sort of like pledge allegiance. I mean, they're all wearing bloody masks. You know, it's like, the funny thing is, like V for Vendetta was saying how the saviors would wear masks to free everybody.
All right.
Isn't it funny?
Strange.
Now it's the people wearing the masks are the prisoners.
That's right, because there was a virus. That's right.
Yeah. Fuck, I don't know.
It's the people wearing the masks are actually the prisoners, not the ones wearing the masks to free society.
Always number one.
And I still think that it was thrown out there because Brexit. I think that Brexit was kind of like a shining light at we can all follow the way, and it was like, remember who your masters are. Yeah, it was a whipping. Oh, look, the horses are running around. They're going to run and jump over the fences soon. Whip them back into line.
Well, most people just blindly go along with it regardless. I mean, here in California, I mean, there's no mandate. There's no law that says you have to wear a mask in public, right? But most people do.
Yep.
When you walk outside, 9 times out of 10, the people that you see, they're going to be wearing a mask. Once in a while, you'll see someone walking around without a mask. But most of the time, you're going to see people with masks on. And I think most stores now, when you go in to go buy something or whatever, they have a sign outside saying that you have to wear a mask to go into the store. So it's not a law. You're not breaking the law by not wearing a mask, but it's just culturally the thing to do,
Yeah.
Well, it's a good way to kind of like, you see the submissives, you see the people who will give in to groupthink, and what they're told to do rather than thinking for themselves. And
right.
And I think you see that. I mean, I had somebody like clambering to get away clambering over items in a motorway service station, and they were clambering to get away from me because I didn't have a mask on. It was because I just forgot it, and they were they when they saw they didn't have one, they literally went clambering on their knees, to get away on, Fear is a powerful thing. This is why they go to war is a great way to win an election, because it's like war. Everyone comes together and they stick together. So it's fear. It's the whole thing. And then people just so stupid to not realize this is what's going on now. There have not been the deaths that require it to be called a pandemic.
Correct.
There have not been, but they changed the amounts of figures so they could call it a pandemic. It's it's like saying if one person became a zombie, tomorrow, just one, not millions, not billions,
just one,
the government would call it a zombie apocalypse.
That's what I mean? That's a good analogy. That's pretty much the way it is right now.
It's a zombie apocalypse. It's like, well, there's just one. No, it is. It's the end of the world. No, if we just kill the one, we'll be all right. No, it's not. You all gotta realize, it doesn't. The types of things that are going on now and the way people are behaving, I think, is just completely out of proportion to what is really going on. People who get COVID get better really quickly. There's no need to be freaking out the way we are, and it's nothing more than just a strain of flu.
1 million people.
Life needs to carry on.
1 million people worldwide have died from COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nothing. How many people are in the world today? Like, was it 7-8 billion? I don't even know.
Yeah. Billion, yeah.
So say 8 billion people on the planet, and 1 million people have died. Now, of course, that's very sad and it's horrible and all that stuff, but it's nothing. More people die from car wrecks than that. It's almost insignificant. But yet here we are having a worldwide pandemic closing down the economy. It does not make a lot of sense. It really doesn't.
To an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Sorry, Justin.
What do you mean? What do you mean by to an extent, Justin? Tell me.
Do we really know how to deal with such a thing? And from like us, because I'm indifferent. I know there's obviously corruption and conspiracy abound, but depending on how those things are being applied or used, that's the unknown. And in the beginning, I was part of the whole conspiracy. I was like, oh man, the National Guard's coming. Look at the tanks on the trains, and and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Which was valid because we did get the National Guard and stuff, but was it as crazy as what I saw, the videos I saw, and the stuff I saw firsthand? No, it wasn't. Was the lockdown itself as crazy? No, it was mostly the people kind of going about it that was making it crazy, and again, there's different ways you can look at how they apply it, but of course I've had my own personal experiences where my girlfriend's best friend died from COVID, and she's 30 years old, and then I started seeing more people die or get really sick. And then I have nurses that I talk to that are like, we've never seen anything like this before. And I asked them about the flu because I hear if you look at the study of the flu, there's only an estimate of what the flu does. And it's here in Illinois, here in the United States, it's between 30 and about 80,000 die a year. And when you look at the numbers that they have, that's only an estimate for the last 7 years. So we really don't have, at least to us in the public, an actual amount of who dies from the flu. And what makes me kind of question things is when you look at COVID, we have exact numbers. So whatever that means, I don't know. But that's the data I can
If you can trust those numbers because of the fact that a lot of people are being ticked off as being COVID deaths.
Yeah.
Of course.
Jumped off a building, died of COVID.
Exactly.
Well, depending. I mean, again, some stuff I've seen that's exaggerations and just some of it is kind of come from these conservative outlets that really
not really, because if let's just say, Justin, that you test positive for COVID-19, right? You take the test, and the test comes back and it says, yep, 100% you got COVID-19, right? And then you get in the car and you have a head-on collision and are killed instantly. Your death certificate will say you died of COVID-19.
Yeah, I've read some of the criteria for that, even here in the state of Illinois, and they're very clear that wasn't the case, at least what they were saying. You had to have actually really the symptoms and something that would show that. And we do have physical. You can actually, people who had COVID that are really suffering from that, they have mucus buildup, and they also have blood in their lungs. That's what my friend died from. The COVID was literally, her lungs were bleeding and causing damage, and she was 30 years old, So, and of course she had thyroid issues. So then you have that whole discussion, like, what's the pre-existing issue, and that's hard to say, because technically anyone who ever dies from anything is going to have a pre-existing issue. So why don't we, apply that type of mentality on every disease that we have? Because technically anything that kills us is essentially a buildup of already disease that we already have. But I do agree that there's something going on. As into what exactly is happening, I don't know. But I do know, and I've talked to nurses and I've talked to doctors. Right. They are saying this shit is bad. And the person that I had on my show, which she kept her identities, secret, basically. She shares me information, and she collects data for deaths of COVID and everything. And she's telling me that although they have an estimate, she sent me from her own files and her own computer on a video that they have 230,000 confirmed deaths, confirmed. And it's like, well, I mean, is she part of the big conspiracy? How are they really fudging the numbers? And she tells me, how she deals and what they're seeing with people who come.
Well, no,
I'm sure it's happening.
She's not fudging the numbers. She's being honest.
No,
But the numbers are still being fudged, though.
You know, yes, but we can't totally build off that either. You know,
when
just like the case of the test being faulty, we're always like, well, it could be a false positive. Well, what about a false negative? No one ever brings that up.
It's true. That's true.
It's true, though.
That's true.
It's true, though. No one brings that up. It could be a possibility. We know that the tests are faulty.
When I was in the hospital having my kidney stones dealt with, I was in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I was in recovery, and I was talking to the nurse.
You mean your COVID stones? Let's be serious.
my COVID stones.
COVID did it.
Let's be politically correct then.
Yeah, my COVID stones. And I was in recovery after the operation. And I'm talking to the nurse, and the conversation came up about COVID and everything. And I was saying, yeah, so many people being tested and all that stuff. And she leaned towards me and she didn't quite whisper, but she leaned towards me and she said, yeah, the tests are not reliable. We get a lot of false positives.
Yep.
You know, that's the nurse telling me that, the tests are...
Yes.
She's basically telling me in hushed tones that the test is fucking bullshit. It's a bunch of nonsense.
So if you 50-50 it, then 50% of the people who may have been told they've got it may not have it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But if you watch it... Go ahead, finish up. That's fine.
I was just going to say, some people have gone in, taken water in, it's tested positive.
Yeah.
They've then taken something else in, it's tested negative.
Right.
Then they've tested themselves, they've tested positive. Next day they tested negative.
What about those guys? Yeah. Do you see the guys in the UK? They had a mail in COVID test, and you get the test in the mail, and you stick it up your nose and whatever. And you put it in the vial, and you mail it off. Then you get a result, positive, negative, whatever. So they were getting the test, opening it, sealing it, not taking it, just sealing it and putting it back in the mail, and then getting results. Oh, you got COVID, and they hadn't even fucking done the test.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust the swabs. I mean, if you follow the news, it was known that the tests were faulty because they were trying to rush them out. Now, the test now, I'm not sure. And the test that I've taken and what my partner's taken, but she actually has been found positive of the antibodies 3 times. And there's the blood test that she took. I took the blood test and I came out negative. And I'm with her, we're banging, we're doing all that stuff. So, that's a little weird to me, but that also could be up to my immune system and biology and all sorts of things. The reason why that is.
But the test only works though, Justin, if you're human.
Of course. I'm waiting for the mothership. But I think the blood test is more valid than the mucus swab test, if anything.
Yeah.
But there is legit information out there and news resources that say that the tests were faulty because they were being rushed out at some point. Yeah. So I mean, a lot of things can be explained. Like even everything that we're seeing here, I almost chalk it up to just incompetence. Because again, sometimes it's like we don't really know, And then you look at historically.
I had the test up the nose, that thing that goes up your nose, and the back of your throat. I had that 3 times. It was fucked up. It was not a pleasant experience at all.
I'd rather them just pick my finger and take it from my blood.
It was gross.
That's much better.
Yeah.
But yeah. We don't know. We really don't know. There is something going on for sure, given what we are seeing. There is a lot of interesting policies that have been thrown around, even here in Illinois. Right before, or I think the first month that it happened, they were talking about how they were removing religious exemptions for vaccines, if I remember correctly, and that was a legitimate news article. It didn't get passed through, but that was something that was happening right when COVID started. So,
yeah, well, I think 2021 is going to be the year of the vaccine, and we'll see how that goes.
It's going to be off the hook 2021.
I think they're going to be rolling that shit out next year probably. We'll see how well that goes with.
I can't wait.
Well, this is it, isn't it? You problem, reaction, solution. You need a way to scare the sheep. Release a virus.
Yeah.
Then keep the media just feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding, and people just watch the media. They don't disconnect. I've disconnected because I think it's bullshit. I've disconnected. Yeah. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect most people I know. As far as I'm concerned, it's something that happens to other people. It's
going to get to the point, though.
But everybody else is living in fear, and I think that when you live in fear, you manifest illness.
I agree.
True.
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 But I think as far as the virus is concerned, though, it's going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to travel without having the virus. You're not going to be able to go to work without having
the vaccine.
I'm sorry, without having the vaccine. You're not going to be able to like buy stuff without having the vaccine. This certain places are going to be completely. So it's not like the Gestapo is going to kick down your front door and hold you down and give you the injection. That's not going to happen. They're just going to make it so inconvenient to live your life without having the vaccine. Is that you're going to have it if you want to just live a normal life. That's the way they're going to work it.
So it'll become like Gattaca, there'll be sophisticated ways to outsmart the vaccine, there'll be sophisticated ways to
multipass,
pretend you've had it, hack the system, say you've had it. There'll be ways.
Yeah, I saw a great meme. What's the name of the movie? I'm blanking. Multipass. What is it with Bruce Willis? Fifth Element. Fifth Element. There's a great meme where it shows that chick holding her multipass, and the meme says, "Me holding my fake vaccine documents." Multipass. Let me through. Multipass. Fuck you. I got my vaccine. Yeah, sure I did. Here you go. Look, get the fuck out of here, retard. But. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way it's going to go. Whether it'll happen next year or the year after, I don't know. But it's going to be very difficult to do anything unless you've had the vaccine and you can show proof that you've had the vaccine.
Yeah. I can't wait to find out.
They've been leading up to this. They've been leading up to this for such a long time, getting people ready for this concept, like vaccines, and pretending like that it's having a great, effect in Africa when it's not, in India and Africa, the horrifying, death tolls and maiming and things that are going on from giving vaccines to people, that didn't want them as well, but the story you hear from Bill Gates is not about the horror stories and the wrong things that are going on. It's only about that it just works. It's just like this mantra. Vaccines are good. We need more. They work. Don't worry. It's all good. Yeah, but what about the don't worry about that? Don't worry about the 3 eyes, the phallus growing out your forehead. Don't worry about that. That's just your imagination. Take the vaccine. It's like, but people are not that stupid, and they've tried this shit before, because they were trying to force vaccines, like in Germany, and people came out and said nope. And it's like there's all sorts of things wrong with the way they give vaccines at the moment. There's things in the vaccines which have nothing to do with COVID-19. They put thousands and thousands of viral agents in the vaccine which have got nothing to do with it, and then they put these adjuvants as well, such as mercury, thimerosal, aluminium, which are poisons. So it's like, in order to help you, we have to poison you a little bit too. Well, no, hang on. Surely the cure is the cure. You don't need to poison me to activate the cure. Because then, they'll say, well, oh, no, it was side effects of, other things. It wasn't the vaccine. It was just side effects. It was other things, complications, and then they don't blame the vaccine. If the companies are so sure about their vaccine, that it works, which even they're not. They said it works in over 60s at the moment. It's like, but they're all going, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to work in over 60s. No, it's not. It's going to kill a lot of over 60s. Yeah. And they're going to go, we'll just sweep that under the carpet because that's inconvenient truth. It's people are going to, no, they're not going to take it. But these multinational corporations and Bill Gates and governments, they're on an agenda, and I think Brexit was kind of like to the agenda. So they said, you don't want the agenda, do you? You're having the agenda.
The COVID,
yeah.
You don't want. So. You think you're walking away, do you? You ain't walking away. Yeah. And I just say to people, it just tells you how free you are, because you are not free to say no to any of this. I saw an advert on a bus going through London earlier on, and it said, there is no debate, wear the mask.
Yeah.
That was the message. There is no debate. That means it's not open for debate. You don't get to ask a question, wear the mask.
Yeah.
There is no debate. Fascism.
That's very disturbing. seeing an
literal advert.
seeing
There is no
an
debate
advertisement
where the
like
mask.
that. There is a fucking debate. There's a massive debate.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's fucking bullshit.
And people who wag their fingers at you in the supermarket and freak out
Wear
and
your
all this
mask.
sort of shit, you know.
Put your mask.
You know.
Put your mask on. What's the matter with you? Put your mask on.
Yeah, no, I've experienced it. You know, it is what it is. But then again, of course, who knows? Maybe that person had a family member that died from it, and we don't know that, or stuff like that. Because I shouldn't say there is no fear to it, but there is some sort of awareness that we need to have overall. And I think there are people who fear it.
So what? So if my sister died in a car wreck, and I see you getting into a car, I need to tell you, hey, you shouldn't be driving.
Well, I mean, then why do we wear seatbelts?
You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
Why don't we
man.
Seatbelts?
Come on,
why don't we contest
man.
seatbelts then? That's the way I feel about it. To me, I think it's an inconvenience.
Don't wear seatbelts. I don't care.
But overall, it's the same. It's the same thing. Why do I wear seatbelts? Why do I have insurance? Why do I have a license? Why do I have an ID? Why do I have a social security card?
Because
why don't they refuse to sell food to fat people?
you do all that stuff, Justin, because there is a threat. There is a threat of violence forcing you to do it. That's why you. That's why you wear a seatbelt. Because there's a threat of violence.
Control us.
Yeah,
that's my thing. They already control us.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say COVID's a more way to control, because they already control us. They control us with our economies. They control us with our labor. They control us with our nationalism. Really, if anything, I think you're right. COVID is a way to introduce other things, but I feel it's not as what we think it is, because to me it's no different than a DUI law, But on your allegory to a car accident, there is a difference between me, spreading something to someone and me spreading a car accident. You know what I'm saying? There is a difference, but I will respect someone's way of, like, I don't want someone's grandma to die if that's the case. If that, just like my friend, she died, and it's a possibility. And I'll give this information out that I wasn't going to give out before, but two things. Her sister's a nurse, okay? And they feel that her sister gave her the virus because she was not practicing proper procedures. And my friend who was giving me that information, who works in healthcare data, she was finding out that the areas that were rising were in more low income areas. And they were finding out that a lot of the nurses and staff there were not practicing proper PPE compared to some other areas. And it is true that a lot of the low income areas here are experiencing high rates of COVID deaths, So there's a lot of human error too that we can chalk up to the big conspiracy as well, And that's where I'm saying you got to be aware of. Yeah. I agree. Trust me, I agree. There's a conspiracy. I agree. There's a big conspiracy, but there's also the things in between that we do have to be aware of and not totally overlook it, because just saying that things are a fear are almost just fearing that the fear is going to make us fear. You know what I'm saying? It's almost living into the fear, because it's like, well, it's all fear. Don't believe it. Yet you're already fear from being the fear of the information that you're getting, So but that's what I do hear from other people, the allegories to that. I don't want to live in fear. Well, I don't live in fear at all. I mean, that experience happened to me. I mean, I still do everything. I still see my friends. I still not wear my mask, but if I am in a public place, I will put my mask on for that sense,
Well,
but
I do the same thing.
There's a certain awareness.
Like when the other day I went to Starbucks. So on the way to work, I'd stop at Starbucks to grab a coffee, and I parked. I got out of the car. I walk in, and as I'm walking in, I don't have a mask on, and they won't let you in without a mask.
Yep.
Because you forget, you're like, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go back to the car, get the fucking stupid mask. It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah,
but
I carry it. Yeah, I carry it or put it on my stupid thing. But I mean, some places don't even care. They don't really care, to be honest with you. It's just really, it is. There's some places that do, and a lot of places don't. I mean, I'm in Home Depot, and sometimes I forget to put my mask on, and I'm in the bathroom, and I'm like, oh crap, no one said anything to me, But it's only been a few instances where I've had some people that are standing in the line to me or whatever. But most definitely, there is things that we should be aware of, but we shouldn't discount what people are really experiencing on such a level. And the way I explain certain things is, you know, the allegory that I have is always comic books. You know, there's always universal things going on in the universe that the Earth is not aware of. And there's still, even though that's happening, there's still Spider-Man and Daredevil fighting stuff on street levels. You know, there's still that, you know, even though the bigger scope of things may not affect us,
Spider-Man.
but the little things are still affecting us. There's still there's a hero out there trying to stop the thugs, you know, trying to steal your purse still, you know. So, I mean, we do have to. And I do agree, if you do your research, there are some things, and I'll throw it out here right now, that the vaccine thing is true. And something else to take note of the vaccine thing is that this particular vaccine has a coding in it. So when they give it to you, they're actually recoding your immune system. It's not just blap and I forget what they call it, what type of vaccine it is, but it's basically recoding what it's doing in your body, and that's something to really think about when you're doing this.
There's many rumors as to what's going on with the vaccine, and they might all be nonsense or true, or who knows. I don't know. I've heard stories about nanobots, nanotechnology, rewriting your DNA, all that stuff that's being injected.
That's
right.
That's the virus.
Yeah, but who knows whether that's true? I mean, hopefully it's not. But
it's true.
But I wouldn't put it past them.
No, it's true. That's true.
But
the idea is that it's helping your immune system. Supposedly, it's helping your immune system adapt to the virus easier by, I guess, telling it to do something. And that's, from what I understand, that's exactly what the COVID vaccine is doing.
Over the next year or two, we're going to get to the point where the rubber's going to meet the road, right?
That's right.
It's going to where you're going to decide whether or not you want to take the vaccine or not. Because if you want to live your life, you're going to have to take the vaccine. You want to go to work, you need to take the vaccine. You want to travel, you need to take the vaccine. They're gonna angle it that way. You know, like I said, no Gestapo is going to kick down your door and hold you down and give you the shot. That's not going to happen. They're just gonna make it so difficult for you to live a normal life unless you get the vaccine.
Bill Gates already has a policy that you can look up. It's a valid articles about it, that you need a certificate for your business. This is where I put the questioning parts into play. You need a business certificate that has passed COVID, whatever the criteria is, either getting the vaccine.
Right.
Yes, this is true. This is really true. Yes, this may be happening.
I'm going to be downloading that form and adding my name to it and printing it out to prove that I've taken the vaccine. There's going to be pirate copies of that. Multipass.
Yeah. We should get on that now, actually.
Hook that up. Well, guys, I think we should call it a night. It's getting kind of late for me, which means it's really late for Justin and crazy fucking late for Matt. So I want to thank you all for coming on.
I'm feeling like Steve was earlier on. I'm like, I'm going.
Thank you all for coming on. Great to talk to you all again.
Yes.
Great to talk to you, Matt. I haven't spoken to you for a while, so great to talk to you again. Have a great night. Thanks for the people that tuned in. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation, and we'll do it again sometime. So, good night.
Can I just say before you go?
Yeah.
Oats Studios.
What's that?
Have you seen it?
Oats Studios? No. Oats? What is it?
No, Neil Blomkamp. Neil Blomkamp who did District 9.
Now I know what you're talking about. Yes. Little short films, right?
It's the most weird thing. I just watched it. It's got Sigourney Weaver's in it, and it's like a movie quality thing. It's just called Oats Studios.
There you go.
And it's like, what's this? And it's like aliens and special effects, and it's like, whoa, this is like really like high-end stuff.
Check it out. Check it out.
So that's all I'm going to say is
for sure.
Worth a look.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Have a good day.
Take care.
We'll talk to you all really soon. Good night, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.